power you seek.
Zhuzh. Right, so, Doctor Who, Series 11, Episode 4, Arachnids in the UK. Woo! So, this is the official Halloween-ish episode, even though it technically didn't really premiere at Halloween, but it was Halloween week, so it was generally supposed to be the scary horror episode of this season, which is appropriate given the date that it was released. Now, before we go on, I just want to be completely transparent with you people. I did read a few reviews on this episode. Before watching it, the response was not exactly positive for the most part. People said it was boring, people said they checked out a few minutes into it, they didn't really like it. I really wasn't expecting people to warm up to this episode even before I watched it, because after such a magnificent, near-perfect episode last week, I mean, I didn't really expect the follow-up episode to top that. I do believe that as a filler episode, it worked, and I liked it, I enjoyed it a lot. Definitely not as much as the previous 3 episodes that came before it, naturally, because obviously, like I mentioned, the previous episode was just so good that I don't think any other episode in this season is going to top that. So I didn't really expect this episode to move me too much. It actually kind of a little bit exceeded my expectations from it. First of all, giant spiders. Who doesn't like a good horror-themed Doctor Who episode that involves giant spiders? I don't know about you, but I had a lot of callbacks all the way back to the 3rd Doctor final episode, Planet of the Spiders. Every time one of those giant spiders showed up on screen, I had this urge to just go, "All praise to the Great One," or "I have come to give you the power you seek." You know, one of those classic lines from the female spiders in the Planet of the Spiders. I really enjoyed that episode more than I probably should have, since I'm really not big of a fan of spiders in general, but hey, it's a giant spider episode, so what are you gonna do?
All praise to the Great One!
Also had a lot of callbacks to other giant spiders in pop culture history, like Aragog or Shelob, or any other name you can throw at that. I'm blinking on the name right now. But first of all, I like to say that I really enjoyed the fact that last week we've had such a huge focus on politics. This week it was a little bit dialed down. We did get that other character that was running for presidency in the United States, and I love the dynamics between the Doctor and him, that she really doesn't give a damn who he is. She even calls him Ed Sheeran at one point. I enjoyed the fact that the group of women that were in this episode were a lot braver and smarter and more well-developed than this douche. I enjoyed that. It looks like Doctor Who's taking that approach of making the women the focus this season, which is nothing bad in my books. I really enjoyed that. Well, technically you already have, because you already have a female Doctor, so it's only natural that there'd be a much heavier focus on women this season, which, again, I'm perfectly fine with. The spider effects look amazing. I was expecting, they're gonna just put a few puppets on screen and they're gonna throw spiders at people and they're just gonna move around as if the spiders are actually moving. That was not the case. From what I could tell, the spiders were pretty much all CGI, and it was good CGI. It's CGI that you don't really notice that much, because whenever people complain about the fact that CGI is ruining everything, that practical is always better, that is not always the case. CGI is only bad when you know it's bad CGI. Can you tell bad CGI from good CGI? When you can tell that it's CGI. When you can literally look at something and say, oh yeah, that's CGI. A lot of people don't realize this, but movies and TV shows use a lot more CGI than practical. Pretty much whenever they have animals on screen or even landscapes, that's all CGI. They're all filming it inside a recording studio, and they only use CGI to make it look like it's outside. So in those cases, you don't really notice that it's actual CGI, not filming on location. That is when the CGI is done well. And the animation of the spiders was something to behold. It was better than I could have expected, because it really is not easy to animate a hairy creature with 8 legs. Think about that. It's got 8 legs. That's a lot of animation to work with, and the sound effects on the spiders was actually well timed, well placed, brilliant work on the spider. As far as the characters themselves, we get much more into Yaz's personal life. We get to see her whole family, her dad, her sister, her mother, where she is with her family, and more importantly, why she wants to leave to go travel the universe with the Doctor. Get a little bit about Ryan and Graham, and how Graham is taking the loss of his wife Grace. And we get a little bit of information with Ryan's father. Not enough for my taste. I didn't really enjoy the fact that Ryan is just starting to talk about it, and they just brush that whole conversation aside to deal with a giant spider. But hey, you can't have all of the pieces of the puzzle in one episode, right? You get a big chunk of explanation from Yaz, and a few hints from Graham and Ryan. So I'm okay with it, especially since the previous few episodes have dealt pretty heavily with Graham and Ryan in general. So I can't really expect every episode to focus on them and not have any focus at all on Yaz. And I really also enjoyed the fact that they're still finding different ways to keep Grace as a major part of this season, and it really does feel like Grace is still one of the Doctor's companions, which I really did not see coming. But overall, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. Definitely not the best of the season. I would even go so far as to say that it was my least favorite of the season. If I had to rank these, I would probably put this at the bottom, then The Woman Who Fell to Earth right above it, and it's sort of a tie with The Ghost Monument. I can't really decide which of these two episodes I like better, but the best episode this season by far is definitely Rosa. And I know some people are considering Twice Upon a Time as part of this season, as like the episode 0 of this season. I personally don't. I try to avoid keeping the Christmas specials as part of an actual season, because they're specials. They're not, I don't really consider them part of the actual season, especially since that episode was with a completely different doctors, a completely different TARDIS, a completely different theme, all of it, a completely different showrunner. So yeah, I don't really consider Twice Upon a Time part of this season, but you guys go ahead and do what you do. I'm really not going to judge you. So, Arachnids in the UK, a few minor points I wanted to touch on. I really enjoy the fact that we finally get to see the Time Vortex and how this new iteration of the Time Vortex looks in the Jodie Whittaker era. I enjoyed the characters going back to revisit their families. That's something we've had multiple times during the new Doctor Who era. I loved the characters' motivations to stick around and keep traveling with the Doctor. And it looks like next week it's pretty much business as usual. The companions are on point, they know what they're doing, they know where they're going. Well, they don't, but you get what I'm trying to say. And we're going to strange and wondrous new places through time and space with the Doctor in the TARDIS. And that's really what I wanted. That's really all I can ask for from a show like Doctor Who. So, let me know what you think, and remember, people, don't feed your spiders too much, because there's a chance they might grow incredibly big and then eat your face. Hello again, everybody. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, where I do all kinds of weird stuff like showcase all these things, trailer reactions, movie reviews, all kinds of fun stuff. So, until next time, I'll see you guys next time.